Mechanics will try and answer that for you at 644-9840. Let's have another look at this plane because, Gerry, it's a smaller plane. We're talking about people in the plane. About 44 people, I think, were inside the plane. It's a smaller turboprop plane. This plane has a small wing compared to a big jet. Does that have anything to do with the icing? Is the icing problem worse on a plane of this size with a wing that size?
Well, there's less lift, obviously, with a smaller wing. So you've got a more critical situation. Now, this is a new aircraft, so I'm sure the certification requirements of it make it so that it is airworthy and whatever, but the aircraft I fly, for one thing, has a much larger wing, flies slower and faster, but on both ends of the spectrum. But I don't, I don't like wings that small. There's a plane I fly, actually.
That's the one you fly.
Yeah.
Okay, more traditional with a larger wingspan.
Yes.
In fact, when you look at the Q400, it does have a noticeably smaller wingspan.
Yes, it does, and it's got the propellers too. And propellers are susceptible to accumulating ice. I mean, they're heated, and there's there's precautions for that, but there's questions to be answered. There's a failure here.
So if there is icing at 32 degrees at 2,500 feet, this plane reacts differently to that than a conventional jet with a larger wingspan?
Not necessarily, but no aircraft should stay in icing for a prolonged period of time. And you need to get in and get out of it. And again, this is all speculation.
Right, right. Okay, we have a caller comment, and we'll be very happy to take it as we're talking about this morning and trying to speculate about some of the answers for this. Good morning.
Hi.
Hi.
I was wondering how do we know it's not a miscalculation by the pilots, considering the other planes are over an airport and the other planes never saw it?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that again?
None of the other planes flying over the airport saw the plane that crashed.
Right.
How do we know it's not a miscalculation on the plane, on the pilots that were flying that plane, because they're so close to the airport?
All right.
Well, I don't know exactly what you mean, but that plane was in the proper flying lanes to do the approach into Buffalo International Airport. The other aircraft are probably higher. I believe the ceiling was around 2,000 feet last night. And the other aircraft, before they get to that point, are above 2,500 feet. So that's why they probably didn't see him.
Now, do we know if this plane was in any kind of communication with the tower beforehand? They certainly did not send any kind of a mayday. There was nothing like that recorded. No,
the proximity of where the crash was is normally where Buffalo Approach turns the controller over to the Buffalo Tower. Now, I didn't hear the radio communications on that, but I don't know if the Buffalo Tower ever spoke to this aircraft.
Okay.
But the point where the crash was is approximately where Buffalo Approach turns the controller or turns the controls over to Buffalo Tower.
Okay, hopefully that answered your question. We have another person waiting. Good morning, welcome.
Yes, good morning. Thank you for having me.
Sure.
I just figured that maybe it was catastrophic engine failure, maybe a prop separation. If de-icing was a possibility, there would be some notice in the yoke and some preliminary shaking inside the cockpit. And it's hard to believe the entire de-icing system or the de-icing boots would fail.
This aircraft is capable of flying on one engine, so I don't agree it was catastrophic engine failure. If that one engine totally was disabled, that plane can land easily with the other engine.
Right. I realize that. But maybe a prop separation could enter the fuselage and even take out the other aircraft engine. That's always a possibility. I know that happened on the C-130 once.